Hey everyone, Cody here with RSG Outdoors, and in today's episode I'm going to show you guys something you can do to almost any of your bait casting reels that'll improve your ability to catch big fish, reel in big weights, or large baits. Alright, so let's take a look at what we have here. I've got two Abu Garcia C4 6600s, you can see that written right there. And one of them I've already gone ahead and replaced the standard handle, which is this one here. Works just fine, with the power handle. Now the power handle is just a little bit longer and it gives you a little bit more torque, a little bit more leverage to reel in heavier weights, more powerful fish, things like that. It's a great thing to add or swap over to if you're into fishing for catfish or you fish on the bottom a lot using heavy weights like I do. So first of all, let's take a look at some of the differences between these two, how it comes in the package, and then we'll get one swapped over. So when it comes in the package, it looks like this right here. They give you this nice little emblem that you can put on instead of the metal bracket. I'm going to use the metal one. And they give you a replacement bracket. And then you also get the handle itself. So let's compare the handles. So as you can see there, the power handle is about a ½ an inch longer, maybe just a little bit more than that, maybe almost 3/4 of an inch longer. Other than that, there's not much of a difference. The power handle is straight, whereas there is a slight flaring on the standard handle that comes on the reel. So the standard handle and the power handle are both perfectly balanced. So if I put this on my finger right here in the middle, you'll notice the counterbalance weight that they've added here keeps that reel completely balanced, so when it's on the reel it doesn't spin on its own or anything like that. It's completely up to the user whether or not the handle turns, so that's something you're not compromising or sacrificing by swapping out to the power handle. So in order to swap this thing out, you don't need a whole lot of tools. We're just going to need a wrench to take this off, a screwdriver to take out the retaining screw, and in the case of these Abu Garcia reels, you also need a pair of pliers or a split ring pliers, something like that, in order to remove a small E-clip that is in there. So let's go ahead and get this thing off. You don't want to torque these down. They're not torqued down too tight when they're put in. There's no need for it. And you'll notice this bracket just slides right up and off. No issues there. And then you'll need a small wrench. This is just a 10mm for this particular one. And it's not torqued on very tight. Threads off quite easily there. Now you'll see that E-clip that they have on there. So if we try to slide the handle off, it doesn't want to move. We've got to get that E-clip off first. I don't actually have a pair of E-clip pliers, but I've found that a pair of needle nose, just put it against the ends of it there and push off, and it'll usually come off without an issue. And of course this one's gonna make me look a little foolish here for just a moment. Well, there we go. No big deal. Alright, now that little E-clip has come off, and that's really easy to slide back on and just push it back on as soon as you put the new handle on. Go ahead and lay that right there, and then the old handle slides off. So make sure that this little spring washer right here stays on and stays on in the appropriate way. Sometimes if you've lubricated these up or something, it'll stick to the old reel handle, and I just had to pull it off and slide it back on. Simple matter of sliding the reel handle back on, the new one, putting that power handle on there, and then we're going to put the E-clip back on. It's not too difficult to slide back on. Just put it at the top of the pin and push back on with your finger. If you push it on straight, that is, because I just tried to push it on about as crooked as it could get there. It's not too difficult to just press back on with your finger. If you can't get it on there, just because you don't have the dexterity or whatever, you can just squeeze it back on with a pair of pliers. It won't hurt anything. And now that power handle won't come off. Alright, so when you're threading this nut back on, make sure you thread it very carefully. See how that one kind of stuck? That means it didn't thread correctly. It can be just a little finicky because it is round and it's going on to what is essentially a square head threaded thing, but it should thread on really easy by hand when you get it set in the right spot. You take your wrench and just very lightly tighten it, and then use your bracket to find out if you need to adjust more or less. And you can slide the bracket around a little bit. See right there, it's not quite lined up. We'll slide the bracket over one and see, okay, we didn't line it up quite well. So we can use the bracket to just kind of back it off to that screw hole. Put the screw back in. And just hand tighten it. Alright, now perfectly balanced, just like the original handle, but now we have a little bit more leverage. That's going to help a lot when I'm bringing in those heavy weights. It's also a benefit for a smaller frame person or my kids or my wife whenever they're reeling up a decent sized fish. That gives them a little more leverage, provides them a little more torque for less effort. Alright, that worked out great. I'm glad I got these replaced on these two reels. I definitely prefer the power handles over the conventional ones. If you want to get some power handles for yourself for some of your round bait casting reels or some of your low profile bait casting reels, you can pick them up at almost any online tackle retailer and some of your box store retailers as well. They range in price from about $10 to $20, $25, something like that. It's definitely going to improve the fishability for me whenever I'm casting those heavy weights, using heavy baits, or trying to drag stuff in that heavy current that we've had here recently. And it also improves fishability for my wife and kids, just smaller frame people that need a little extra leverage to help crank up those hard pulling fish. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, leave me a like and subscribe to the channel. I left that link for you right there. If you still need your outdoor fix, I've got another video for you, and its link is right there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time on RSG Outdoors.